Okay, the Voltaic Staff is one of your relic options within the Necron Codex. It's going to be replacing the Staff of Light, and there's actually only 5 models within our Necron Codex that takes a Staff of Light to begin with, so this is only accessible to those 5 units. And those 5 units are the Catacomb Command Barge, a Necron Overlord, a Necron Lord, a Locust Lord, and a Technomancer. So what is actually upgraded with that Staff of Light? First of all, you're going to be getting 4 shots as opposed to 3, and also the strength of the shots is strength 6 as opposed to strength 5. Then lastly, the damage is 2 instead of 1, so you get quite a lot. And then furthermore, there is an ability with the Voltaic Staff. You get exploding 6s on a roll of a 6, very similar to our Tesla weapons. In fact, it is technically a Tesla weapon, as mentioned in the Tesla weapon section of the Codex. So the weapon is mainly used for anti-elite infantry, such as Space Marine models, because they've got 2 wounds per model. And when you've got that minus 2 AP and 2 damage, yeah, you're simply going to be removing 1 Space Marine model every time this one goes through the armor save. It also has the advantage of wounding toughness 3 units on a 2+ roll as opposed to a 3+, because of course strength 6 versus toughness 3, that wounds on a 2+, not a problem. The damage does go a little bit to waste being damage 2, but you're wounded on 2, so it's not actually too bad. Now you can also use the Malevolent Arcing stratagem for 1 command point, again because this is technically a Tesla weapon, so you can be throwing out some extra mortal wounds that way. So the units that are going to take this, first of all the Catacomb Command Barge, as already mentioned. Now this thing is a vehicle, so it can fire it into combat as well as make its actual combat attacks with the melee side of the actual weapon itself. And of course that Command Barge also has the core keyword because it's a vehicle, so if he wanted to, he could be using that My Will Be Done ability. Now he already hits on a 2+, but if there's any negative modifiers to his hit roll, that will just put it straight back to a 2+ to hit with the weapon. In fact, if you do fire it into combat in your shooting phase, maybe it frees up your Catacomb Command Barge, because maybe you're going to be removing the unit that's tagged your Command Barge, and it will free you up to make a completely different charge to a complete different unit there. Now as for the Necron Overlord, it's not that commonly used, because either the Necron Overlord is carrying the Veil of Darkness relic for say your Necron Warrior blob, or has already got rid of the Staff of Light for say a War Scythe or a Void Scythe, which are more melee based weapons. So he's not going to be taking the Staff of Light to then upgrade it to the Voltaic Staff. Now as for the Necron Lord, well they don't have an in-run save, so it's kind of a little bit of a waste putting one of your relics on the Necron Lords. The only real reason to take a Necron Lord really is to put a Resurrection Orb on that Lord, because he'll be a cheap orb character, likely going to be within a core unit to bring those models back for as cheap as possible. And then maybe you can upgrade that to an Eternity Orb, but in this case you're not likely going to be putting a Voltaic Staff on a Necron Lord. Also, that Necron Lord is going to be hitting on a 3+ as opposed to a 2+, so there's another disadvantage there. In fact, the same thing applies to the Locust Lord. He also hits on a 3+, although he does reroll 1s to hit. But you don't really see that many Locust Lords at the minute in the game. War Scythes are probably better served on a Locust Lord, but you do have the option of putting the Voltaic Staff on your Locust Lord if needed. Then finally we come to the Technomancer. Now if you're being really aggressive with your Technomancer, maybe you're taking it with a Lich Guard unit, maybe you're taking him with the Canoptic Spider unit, you push him into your front lines with those kind of melee options, then yeah, you're going to be able to get to use it. 18-inch range is going to be more than enough. Now they do hit on a 3+, so it could be a little bit wasteful in that regard, whereas an Overlord would obviously hit on a 2+. But a more defensive-minded Technomancer isn't really going to need it. He's going to be at the back lines, healing your models, healing your Locust Heavy Destroyers, not really getting into the thick of the action, so therefore it doesn't really require a Voltaic Staff. So for me, overall, with the Command Barge is probably the best option for taking the Voltaic Staff. Now with the other 4 models that can take the Staff of Light to upgrade it to the Voltaic Staff, I don't think it's as useful on them, but in my experiences, it's definitely best served on a Command Barge. But if I was going to put a rating today on the Voltaic Staff, I'd give it a Planet 40k rating of 4 out of 5 stars.